It's the 70s on 7 with flavors for music fans who love variety. Pop, rock, disco, soul, funk, country, and yes, bubblegum. Sirius XM. To hear the Super 70s on Channel 7, activate your radio now. Call 844-711-8800 or head to SiriusXM.com/go to sign up quickly. Sirius XM 70s on 7.
Did you know SiriusXM has over 100 extra channels on the SXM app, filled with ad-free music made for everything you do? Mashup channels, workout channels, channels for parties, or just chilling out and more. Expertly curated for any mood, occasion, or activity. Extra channels let you discover new music and enjoy even more variety from every decade and music style you love. Plus, you can watch some of your favorite SiriusXM shows with SiriusXM Video. And you can do it all along with listening in your car as part of our music and entertainment plan. Right now, we're offering SiriusXM subscription plans for as low as $6 a month, plus fees and taxes. Call 844-711-8800 to find out more about these amazing offers.
Hey, Cody Allen here. Excited to be with you playing country music's next generation on the highway. You may have seen or heard of me. Now, every morning, I'm on the pulse of everything country, live from Nashville. The biggest stories, some unexpected moments and pop culture topics, with plenty of our artist friends dropping by.
Highway Mornings with Cody Allen and Macy Banks.
Weekdays on Channel 56 and on the SiriusXM app.
Included in all trials and popular plans.
Get the SiriusXM app and listen on your phone when you get out of the car. Anywhere you take your phone, you can take Howard Stern, NFL Radio, and commercial-free music channels from nearly every genre. You never have to miss your favorite SiriusXM programs or commercial-free music. Find the SiriusXM app in the App Store or call 844-711-8800 or visit SiriusXM.com/app to find out more.
The newest research, the latest prescriptions, vaccines, and treatments, and how to get the care you need for yourself and for your family. From the heart of the NYU Langone Medical Center in New York City, SiriusXM's Doctor Radio has the world's top doctors on call for you, with specialists in everything from cardiology, oncology, public health, and men's and women's health, to psychology, pediatrics, allergies, nutrition, the ER, and more. With no waiting rooms, no referrals, and no copays. Dr. Radio, SiriusXM Channel 110.
To hear Dr. Radio, activate your radio now. Call 844-711-8800 or go to SiriusXM.com/go to sign up quickly.
SiriusXM Video lets you watch some of your favorite SiriusXM shows on the SXM app. Groundbreaking interviews, amazing in-show moments, behind-the-scenes footage, live performances, all come to life in a way you only imagined before. Plus, you can create your own personalized Pandora station based on the artist you love. And hear over 100 extra channels filled with ad-free music for every mood or occasion. Get your first 6 months of our Platinum plan for only $8.33 per month, plus fees and taxes. Just call 844-711-8800 to take advantage of this amazing offer.
We're blowing up online. Hip-Hop Nation connects you to the biggest hits in the game.
When you're my baby, that's how it is when you
just turn up and vibe. Hip-Hop Nation, commercial-free hip-hop hits. Channel 44 and the SiriusXM app.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, let's see. There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, let's see.
Amazing moments happen so much at SiriusXM, we want you to see them. SiriusXM Video lets you watch some of your favorite SiriusXM shows on the SXM app. Groundbreaking interviews, amazing in-show moments, behind-the-scenes footage, live performances, all come to life in a way you only imagined before. Plus, you can create your own personalized Pandora station based on the artist you love. And hear over 100 extra channels filled with ad-free music for every mood or occasion. Get your first 6 months of our Platinum plan for only $8.33 per month, plus fees and taxes. Just call 844-711-8800 to take advantage of this amazing offer.
Here every pitch of baseball's postseason on Sirius XM.
You will have another October to remember.
The games that define a franchise.
The Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
The moments that bond a community.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
Experience it all on Sirius XM, including the hometown announcers on the Sirius XM app, and join in the discussion on MLB Network Radio Channel 89.
When you're a SiriusXM subscriber, you've got access to commercial-free music, channels from almost every genre, and channels created in conjunction with the biggest names in music. Eminem's Shade 45, Pearl Jam Radio, Bruce Springsteen's E Street Radio, and more. Visit www.siriusxm.com/go to sign up online quickly or call 844-711-8800 now. Activate your radio and start listening now.
Rondo Deportes, Bonjour, Vidi Vidi Vici. Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlie of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the number one network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the number one sports show in the universe. According to me and people with 29 podcast applications, what a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be my neighbor? Shut up! It's 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, I'm always trying to bring the neighborhood together, but sometimes people just don't appreciate it. If that makes sense to you. What a beautiful day, October the 4th, 2023. It's all Big C Sports on 29 Podcast. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, this standard of the world. When you go by and test drive yours, tell them shit you where the good Lord split you. If that makes sense to you, follow on Google, Alexa, Spotify, Speaker Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio Podcast, Amazon Podcast, Good Podcast. Oh, I'm telling you, Castbox Podcast, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, Podchaser. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast on TuneIn Podcast, Geo Suburban Podcast out of London, England, as well as India and Africa, Podtail, YouTube, Hubhopper Podcast, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line, We Podcast, Luminary Podcast, Listen Notes, Podcast Wise, Podbay, Boomer Podcast, Podcast Prodigy, Podcast Republic. Oh, I'm telling you, you ever have a Podcast Republic? The only one that doesn't scare me is allfeeds.ai. Give that some praise. The robots are taking over. I'm telling you, be careful of those robots. They're turning people off, and I'm trying to turn people on. Like Teddy Pendergrass, he was always turning people on. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast streaming OTT on 4 TV platforms all over the universe: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. But you better have a smart TV, especially when you have a nice salad and some sea bass. Give sea bass and salad some praise. Really do appreciate that. I'm going to tell you what I love doing also on Big C Sports Podcast. I love paying homage to our veterans crisis hotline. They really are experienced, helping veterans and their loved ones get help. You know anybody going through issues, pick up the phone, call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give us some praise, because we all need somebody to lean on. And I know I do. All fair and love and warm. I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said reparations now, reparations forever, and then we give it praise. He also said let there be light, if that makes sense to you. I'm telling you what I do. My show is always a bit different. I got some college football to talk about today. Also some NBA basketball to talk about. Major League Baseball is going runners on first and third. They count for the pitch. Curveball. Swung on. Hit deep. Right field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friends. I love saying the girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep, if that makes sense to you. And then I'm telling you, I produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast all the shows. I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter in our life. I know I can use more laughter. And then my commercials are done up front 1 hour shows. They do 4 pauses. They'll have 2 or 3 commercials for the pause. I do all of my commercials up front. Like the Energizer Bunny, I just keep going and going and going and going. That's how I do it. And that's my story. I'm sticking with it. I'm telling you, the stats are provided. The storytelling, I do the play-by-play. I'd even upload the show. It goes out to 29 podcast platforms out of New York City. And I'm in Dimdare Hills, California. And as I told you, it goes out to 4 TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. You know, I'm one of the only sports shows in the universe that honors President Abraham Lincoln. Give him some praise, because reparations is a talk that a lot of people need to know. Even the NFL they're tacitly approving reparations. They're putting end racism on the back of all their end zones. And on the other end zone, they said it takes all of us. And I believe that it does take all of us. I just want to bring that to people's attention. I want to thank CNN, The Source, Caitlin Collins, sponsors of Big C Sports Podcast, weeknights, 9 o'clock p.m. This is CNN. Really do appreciate that. The great James Earl Jones voice. I am so happy today. What a beautiful day. I know everybody has their own flavor of what makes a day great. But for me, I want to tell you, I heard a good old boy back in the day say that Wednesday's called Hump Day. Well, Hump Day, everybody likes Hump Day, if that makes sense to you. I want to just take some time to do what a lot of people don't do. I want to thank you, T-Mobile, America's largest 5G network, sponsoring Big C Sports Podcast. Give that some praise. Also, PNC Private Bank, proud sponsor of the Big C Sports Podcast. Give them some praise. Really do appreciate that. I want to tell you, I picked up a new podcast platform called TuneIn just last month, and I really do appreciate them following Big C Sports TuneIn Podcast. You can find the Big C Sports now, 29 platforms, really on 31, but there's 29 that I really relate to. The other 2, I don't do as much. I want to say for all the people that are focused just on sports, you know, I'm pro reparations. I want to thank the National Black Wall Street Project on their efforts to help create reparations for descendants of child slavery. Give that some praise. There's a special thanks to Double O, a national correspondent for the National Black Wall Street, sent me an article on the federal government and the White House. Executive Order 13985 on further advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities through the federal government. That's the White House. Give that some praise. President Biden, his first executive order signed in office. Also want to thank Marco Rubio, Senator Marco Rubio and his colleagues. They reintroduced a bill while we're breathing and watching the game. They reintroduced a bill to Congress in 2023. They did it in April. United States Senators Marco Rubio, Republican of Florida, Jackie Rosen, Democrat, Nevada, Kevin Cramer, Republican, North Dakota, and Rick Scott, Republican, Florida. They reintroduced the Holocaust Insurance Accountability Act. What does that have to do with sports, Big C? I'm going to tell you what it has to do with sports. Because at the NFL games, it says end racism. And I'm telling you, there's some serious people that run our government that are trying to do that. The Holocaust Insurance Accountability Act, the legislation would allow beneficiaries of Holocaust-era insurance policies to bring civil action in U.S. district courts against the insurer for the covered policy to recover proceeds, due or otherwise enforce any rights under the policy. That's Marco Rubio. All he has to do is add an addendum. Now make it for descendants of chattel slavery and get that some praise, because reparations are due and it will happen. I want to thank Georgetown University. Georgetown, they don't have a good football team. Most people think about Georgetown and basketball. Basketball is about to start up, coming around the hill in October. But Georgetown University, they're pledging over $1 billion in reparations to 272 descendants of chattel slavery. That story was written by Iman Milner, September 15, 2023. Georgetown, according to CNN, the Descendants Truth and Reconciliation Foundation, it confirmed the gifts of $10 million from Georgetown and then $17 million from the Jesuits. These contributions from Georgetown University and the Jesuits are a clear indication of the role that Jesuits and other institutions of higher education can play in supporting our mission to heal the wounds of racism in the United States. You know how the NFL, at the back of the end zone, it says, end racism. Well, Georgetown is putting their money where their mouth is, as well as the Jesuits. It's important. The United States, as well as a call to action for all the Catholic Church to take meaningful steps to address the harm done through centuries of slaveholding. You got to give that some praise. They're not just sucking and jiving. And they're pledging these donations. You can Google it. They hope to be a crucial step in rectifying the injustice enacted on 272 enslaved men, women, and children that were sold from Jesuit plantations to settle Georgetown's debts in 1838. The long-term plan of Georgetown is to pledge over $1 billion through the Descendants Truth and Reconciliation Foundation. I love that, because when I talk about reparations for descendants of child slavery, African Americans, some people think, oh, Curry, you're gonna look like a fool if they don't pass reparations. I just told you, Senator Marco Rubio is making sure it's taken care of for Holocaust heirs and survivors. And also Senator Rick Scott. President Joe Biden, he signed Executive Order 13985 that was sent to me by Double O, a national correspondent for the National Black Wall Street Project. And one more thing that was sent to me by Double O is strong leadership and political will is crucial to ensure reparatory justice of African descent. That's by the United Nations. You got to give that some praise. It's not just me, Big C Sports. It's important. And they say at the United Nations, and that was on September 19th, 2023. So we're right around the corner. It says strong leadership and political will are crucial to ensure reparatory justice for people of African descent. That's from the United Nations General Assembly by the United Nations Secretary General. You got to give that praise. That's more important than saying touchdown, home run, three-point play. Old man Willie, he's going all the way. And they further state the United Nations Secretary General, it sets out a series of concrete steps for states in the United States and the international community to address the continued harms suffered by people of African descent, highlighting the intrinsic link between the legacies of colonialism and enslavement and contemporary forms of systemic racism and racial discrimination, intolerance, and xenophobia faced by people of African descent. Give that some praise. Even the NFL is saying end racism on the back of their end zones. I want to make sure that I do that. I want to do my part for Big C Sports. Many times people don't talk about things that are important to descendants of child of slavery. I also want to give credit where credit is due. I think I'm the only sports show in the universe that was interviewed by the Associated Press. Oh, that's not true, Big C. About reparations. Oh, I got a call from J.D. Harr, the Associated Press. It was on April 29th, 2023. You can find the article. She called me about reparations. She also mentioned in the article, this is real talk. President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, California Governor Gavin Newsom. It's important. She called me. I said, how'd you get my number? She said, we have our ways. I said, what made you call? She said, I heard you speak. And you're different. You're not like the others. And she asked me my thoughts on reparations. And I said what President Abraham Lincoln said. I didn't say touchdown, home run, three-point play. Old man Willie, he's going all the way. I didn't say that. I said what Abraham Lincoln said. I said reparations now, reparations forever. And that's a fact. And I appreciate that because it's happening as we are breathing. I know a lot of people sometimes they don't understand. That is so important. And I want to make sure that I do my part with Big C Sports Podcast. That's why I love giving it praise. I know there's so many things that happen in life. I want to get into some Major League Baseball, but I want to do my due diligence because I want to make sure that I'm not someone who's going to follow. You either lead, follow, or get out of the way. And I've always considered myself a leader with Big C Sports Podcast. I want to thank the California Reparations Task Force. I have a meeting coming up very soon with a California senator the one responsible for name, image, and likeness, California Senator Stephen Bradford. Really do appreciate him. But for those who want to know what's important in our country, it's liberty and justice for all. And that's why with Big C Sports, I will never just get on and read you scores. You can Google who won a game, and there's nothing wrong with that either. But we gotta go a little bit deeper, because there's so many things that I want to make sure that I do my part in helping bring the light to, and that's the California Reparations Task Force. You know, the election is about 13 months away. You're going to see all the candidates going and stomping in the black community asking for the black vote, because that usually turns the election. I want to thank the California Reparations Task Force for doing their part that was commissioned by and mandated by California Governor Gavin Newsom. I want to recommend and thank the chair, Camila Moore. I give her some praise. She's brilliant. Attorney that focuses on reparatory justice. Dr. Emmett C. Brown, vice chair. He's brilliant. And then the best senator in the United States of America, Senator Stephen Bradford, California. He's brilliant. He's the one who's authored name, image, and likeness. That's how college athletes are getting paid. They don't say his name, but Big C Sports does. That's why I give him praise. Council member Monica Montgomery Stebbit, brilliant. Give her praise. Assembly member Reginald Jones Sawyer, he's brilliant. I want to give him some praise. Also, I want to thank Dr. Cheryl Grills. She's brilliant. Give her praise. Attorney Lisa Holder, she's brilliant. I love giving her praise. Dr. Javon Scott Lewis, he's brilliant. Give him praise. Professor at California Berkeley. And Attorney Donald K. Tamaki, brilliant. Part of the Reparations Task Force. Japanese Americans whose descendants have gotten paid. Give them all some praise. Really do appreciate that. Our focus again, what does the NFL say? I want to see what the NBA would do, because the NFL says on the back of all their end zones, end racism. How do you end racism? You do what President Abraham Lincoln promised. He said reparations now, reparations forever. And that means more than just playing sports. And that's my story that I'm taking with it. I want to touch on what happened. I don't give out scores, but as we are speaking and as we are breathing, are you breathing? Of course you're breathing. If you're breathing, give that some praise. You got to give that some praise if you're breathing. Thank the good Lord Almighty. I got the Arizona and Milwaukee. There's something about this series. I'm not going to give out scores, but Arizona and Milwaukee are doing their thing in the National League Wild Card Game 2. And Arizona, they lead the series 1-0. If you're a Arizona Diamondback, you don't want to get stung by those Diamondbacks. Arizona doing their thing right now. At the same time, I got Miami. They're taking on the Philadelphia Phillies in Game 2 of the NL Wild Card. Philadelphia leads 1-0. All's fair in love and war. You got Texas in the AL Wild Card Game 2. And Texas, a 7. I'm not going to give out the scores. I don't want to ruin anything. I got Texas. They're taking on Tampa Bay. All's fair in love and war. That's my story that I'm taking with it. I don't want to give out these scores. Man, some great baseball. They got another American League wildcard game. Game 2, Minnesota and Toronto. I'm not going to tell you who wins. I'm just going to give it some praise. I love baseball. It doesn't have the same pizzazz that it used to have, especially when it comes to the good old boys that play NFL football. And now NBA basketball is kicking off. They're tipping off right around the corner. And then there's college football. There's so many things that are exciting this time of year. It's really hard for Major League Baseball to keep up. Now, when we get into the playoffs, it's a different breed of cat. It tends to hold its own. But I got some stories that I want to bring up for Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings, and everybody has their own thoughts. It doesn't matter what I think. What matters is how these teams play when they get in between the lines. And I don't know what to tell you about who's going to win the World Series. But I know there's a lot of good baseball being played. And almost every young person from sea to shining sea, when you look at Major League Baseball, there's so many great games that have been played, but it all started at the Little League level. At the Little League level is where it all started. And then you get the chance to play in high school. And then high school, you also have the Pop Warner. You have all the colleges, junior colleges that are doing their thing too. There's a lot of great things happening in the world of baseball. And then if you get the chance to go to college and play, you also get the chance to go and step up in the big leagues. And that's where a lot of people love doing, is stepping into the big leagues. But that's my story. and I'm sticking with it. I don't know what to tell you about who you feel is going to win the World Series this year. The defending champion Houston Astros, those good boys are good, led by the great Dusty Baker. We know that he has his thing going. But when I tell you Major League Baseball and the power rankings, everybody has their own thoughts. I have my thoughts, and you have yours. But what matters is what's going to happen when these teams find a way to get to the World Series. I still like the Dodgers. I know people say, the Dodgers, man, you crazy, Curry. Well, that's my opinion. At the same time, a lot of people like the Braves. Also, can you have a team like the Astros? Can they go back and win and defend their title and become back-to-back champions? Dusty Baker's finest teams. I mean, he's been a manager of some great ball clubs over the years, but there's something about that team down in Texas, in Houston, that can swing the bat. That's my opinion. You can't knock out the champion until you knock him out. So my thoughts and what I'm going to do in Big C's Major League Baseball Power Rankings, I'm going to ask you to give me some praise. I'm going to ask you to give me some praise, and who knows what's going to happen. But I'm going to go with my thoughts, and I'm not going to get into who won what game today, because that would be disingenuous. But I do like at number 10, I have the Arizona Diamondbacks. And why Big C? Why Arizona? Well, I have Arizona Diamondbacks. They're in the postseason for the first time since 2017. You got to give that some praise. That's a long way to go in the galaxy far away. They won the wild card game, and then they were swept by the Dodgers back in the day. It looked like this year's talented group might squander the opportunity with a 9-game losing streak to open August. But they managed to hold on, and rookie Corbin Correll, I'm telling you, one of baseball's biggest breakout stars, good old boy, is doing his thing, has 30 doubles, 10 triples, and 25 home runs, 76 RBIs, 116 runs, and he's in 54 steals in 59 attempts. I like what they're doing, and I got them coming in at number 10 in Big C's Major League Baseball Power Rankings. I want to give them some praise, even though some people don't like Arizona. I got number 9 in Big C's Major League Baseball Power Rankings. Don't say it. Don't believe it. Believe it or not, things can change. A couple of years ago, the Texas Rangers, they were at the abyss of Major League Baseball. And now the Rangers, they look like they might be a team that can win the American League West. They had an 18-9 month in the month of May. And when the pitching staff was on, they were firing on all cylinders. And the offense was the best in baseball. They were going runners on first and third. They count for the pitch. Curveball. Swung on. Hit deep. Right field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friends. They love saying the girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep, especially down in Texas. During the 20-game stretch from August 16th through September 8th, they went 4-16. 4-16? How they make your power rankings, Curry? Well, that's in the past. They were 4-16. And they were 3.5 games up in the AL West to 3 games back in third place in that division. They managed to right the ship in time to make the playoffs. And then a 1-0 loss to Seattle cost the Mariners on Sunday, cost them the division title. But I'm telling you, they're a team, if they get back in the swing of things, and I think they can. Corey Seager, 119 games, he's still hit 327. Isn't that something? 42 doubles, 33 home runs, 96 RBIs. 2 years into his 10-year, $325 million contract, he has to show that he's the real deal. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I got number 8 in Big C's Major League Baseball Power Rankings. I got the Minnesota Twins. I want to give those good boys some praise from the Twin Cities. The Twins led the American League with a 3.82 ERA. Those good boys can pitch, trained by Jedi Knights, it seems, in their starting rotation. And the 1-2 punch of Sonny Gray, isn't that something? A 2.79 ERA. That good boy can do it. And then Pablo Lopez, he has a 3.66 ERA. They can be lethal in October as they're chasing a championship, if that makes sense to you. With an American League leading 8-10-10 record over the final month of the regular season, an impressive 73-run. They had a plus 73-run differential. You got to give that some praise. That's why they make Big C's Power Rankings, if that makes sense to you. And the momentum is strong going into the playoffs. We will see what happens because they got to stay healthy. They had a number of key players will be in their postseason to take care of. Carlos Correa, He has plantar fasciitis. I know what that means. It hurts when you walk. They got to tape the feet and maybe give him some hurt, no more pain, if that makes sense to you. But they also got Byron Buxton. He strained his hamstring, all working their way back from injuries. I really like that team. I got number 7 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. The defending World Series champions, the Houston Astros. Dusty Baker's finest. What a team this could be. The Astros, they got past the scandal. We know all that stuff about cheating in baseball. They say if you're not cheating, you're not trying down in Texas anyway. They didn't know any difference. But the Houston Astros, they stumbled through a 3-9 stretch of games that almost cost them a spot in the postseason. And think about what happened before closing out the year with series wins over the Seattle Mariners, the Arizona Diamondbacks, on the road to their 6th American League West title. Give that some praise. Their 6th American League West title in the last 7 years. They're playing like the Dodgers. The question now is which version of that team that we've seen during an up and down September, which one would show up? Famer Valdez, Kristen Javier, Justin Verlander. They've carried this team to a title on the mound before. And the offense was as potent as ever. I'm telling you, this team, they have some sluggers that when you get into the playoffs, deep into the heart of Texas, don't count out Houston trying to go back-to-back as World Series champion. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, they say not so fast, my friend. In Philadelphia, Big C's, number 6 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. The Philadelphia Phillies, give them some praise. Give them praise. After an unexpected trip to the World Series, Philadelphia stumbled to a 4-9 start in 2023. But they righted that ship, and they spent the entire season locked into a wild card spot while looking up the Atlanta Braves. The Braves are amazing in the National League East race. And then they had a 41-40 record away from Citizens Bank Park, claiming the number 1 wild card spot, and then hosting the Miami Marlins in the wild card round. That's huge on a roster loaded with high-priced stars. Second baseman Byron Stott was the team leader with a 4.4 WAR hitting, 280. But what I like about him, I'm telling you, 32 doubles. He has 78 runs scored and 31 steals, also playing very solid on defense. You got to look at that team, Philadelphia. I don't have them advancing to the World Series, but they're a team. They have the bats, and they can swing the bat, and they're going to be tough if you don't get them out, if that makes sense to you. I got number 5 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. The Milwaukee Brewers, give them some praise. Those good old boys in Milwaukee, I'm telling you, only the Atlanta Braves and the Los Angeles Dodgers have more wins against teams above the 500 mark. The Braves have 55 wins, and the Dodgers have 52 wins against teams that are better than 500. Now, the Milwaukee Brewers, they finished 51-38 in those games, and they spent most of the second half in control of the National League Central race. The three-headed monster of Corbin Burns, that good boy, he's something else, a 2.71 ERA. Brandon Woodruff, that good boy, has a 2.59 ERA. And Freddie Peralta, that good boy, has a 2.81 ERA. They all threw the ball extremely well during the second half. If they get that rotation and they get some production from the bats, you got to be careful with those good boys from Milwaukee, and that's why they make Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings, and I do bring them in. I bring them in at number 5. Now, number 5. Yeah, number 5. Now, I got number 4. I'm not talking about who won the games. I don't even know. I'm just going out on a limb. I got the Tampa Bay Rays at number 4 in Big C's Major League power rankings. There's something about those Rays. They spent the first 9 weeks of the season on the number 1 spot in the rankings before starting to show some cracks in their late June and then kicking off July with a 7-game losing streak. My solution is take the dome off of that stadium. You're down in Tampa, the Sunshine State. Take the dome off of that stadium, if that makes sense to you. Now, this is why I put them at number 4. They managed to weather that bump in the road, and they wanted to win 99 games. 99 games. And they gave the upstart Baltimore Orioles everything they could handle in the American League East. And they finished a strong 17-11 record over the final month. The offseason edition of Zach Eflin is proved to be very big for them, especially after Shane McClanahan and Jeffrey Springs and Drew Rasmussen were all lost for the season. He's a 29-year-older with a 3.50 ERA, 186 strikeouts. in 177 innings. You got to give that good old boy some praise. I want to give that some praise. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And now we come down to the top three in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. I have number 3. People may not like this or not. The Baltimore Orioles. Yeah, the Baltimore Orioles. Just 2 years ago, the Baltimore Orioles, they lost 110 games on a team with little in the way of long-term pieces outside of Cedric Mullins and Austin Hayes and John Means. Now, they are number 1 seed in the American League bracket. They have a roster that is loaded with young players. They have young talent that's good. It includes standout catcher Adley Rashman and think about this good old boy, American League Rookie of the Year, frontrunner Gunnar Henderson. That good old boy can play. He had 28 home runs. And the young position player, this group is amazing. These young players, they lost 110 games 2 years ago. They look so promising, and their pitching staff was still a question mark. However, the emergence of Kyle Bradish, a bona fide ace and top prospect, and then Grayson Rodriguez, who has a 2.58 ERA. That boy is amazing. Since the All-Star break, he's changed the outlook of that team, and that's why I have them number 3 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. And you got to give them some praise. They lost 110 games just 2 years ago. You don't think things can change? They can change when you get the right people in place. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, number 2 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings, the LA Dodgers. Give them some praise. The Dodgers again. This Dodger franchise, just like the late Ben Scully, they're always there. They rely on young pitching and kind of a question mark at shortstop following a season-ending injury to Gavin Lux. Now, the LA Dodgers, they ended the season with more uncertainty than in recent years. 6 months later, they have a 100-win season and another National League West title. And they look like the best team in baseball during a 24-5 month of August, when the pitching staff allowed just 95 runs in 25 games. Give that praise in itself. The last decade, they've only lost one title race when the Giants bit them, and the Giants had 107 wins that season. This team is amazing. This year's postseason run could hinge on the performance of Lance Lynn, of Bobby Miller, and then Ryan Peeputt in the starting rotation behind longtime ace Clayton Kershaw, who's coming into his own again. I think Clayton Kershaw is going to show what he's really made of coming up this postseason. And then you have manager Dave Roberts, who's been right there in the thick of things, always having one of the top 5 franchises in Major League Baseball since he's been there. They might have to get creative how he uses the pitching staff that ranked 13th in the majors with a 4.06 ERA. So they got to get better, but they can hit the ball. They have the great Mookie Betts. They have Clayton Kershaw, and Roberts knows how to pull the punches when he has to, and their bullpen can run deep. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I got number 1 in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. I got what do they say? What did Gladys Knight say? She say, get on that midnight train to Georgia. I got the Atlanta Braves down in Stone Mountain, Georgia, number 1 in Big C's Major. They give them some praise in Big C's Major League Baseball power rankings. The Braves, the Braves. Ronald Acuna Jr., I'm not trying to be disrespectful. He reminds me so much of Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds, you must be out of your mind, Big C. No, I'm serious. Every time Barry Bonds came up to the plate, not when he was in Pittsburgh, but when he played for the Giants, it was must-see baseball. Barry Bonds can make a man hold his whatever while he's going to the restroom so you can see Barry Bonds back. I remember there were times, and a lot of you men, you understand, you may have to use the restroom, but they say up at the plate is number 25, Barry Bonds. That was a time that a lot of men would leave the urinal. They would leave the urinal so they could see Barry back. Well, Ronald Acuna Jr., he's the same kind of player. I'm not saying he's as good as Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds, the all-time home run king. But when he's up to bat, he's must-see baseball. The Atlanta Braves, they spent 11 of the final 14 weeks of the season locked into the number 1 spot in the rankings, and they have looked like the team to beat throughout the second half thanks to an absolute juggernaut of an offense led by Barry Bond lookalike Ronald Acuna Jr. He's dominated the headlines. A 41 homer in 73 steal season, while Matt Olson led the majors with 54 home runs and 139 RBIs. You got to give that some praise in itself. This team is dangerous. They too joined Ozzie Albies and Marcell Ozuna and Austin Riley to give the team 5 30 home run players. 5! You got 5 guys that hit deep. Right field, back to the wall, home run! Say hello to my little friend. You got 5 guys that hit 30 homers. That tells you how dominant this team is. That ties the 2019 Minnesota Twins for the most in a single season. And then the health of Max Fried, the blister on his hand, and then Charlie Morton has a finger inflammation, is the big question mark heading into the postseason. The former is expected to be ready to start the NLDS, while the latter sidelined until at least the NLCS. And I put them in the NLCS, and I have them in there against the Dodger Blue. I think it's going to be West Coast versus the Deep South. What do we like in the California? We like sunshine, and we like the beautiful ocean. What do they like down in Georgia? They also like their peaches, and they like their rain. But I'm telling you, there's a collision course coming, and I think the Dodgers and I think the Braves, they're on that course. You go back to the Braves, they put a lot on their shoulders of Spencer Strider and Bryce Elder. They have such a potent offense, it takes pressure off of their pitching staff as a whole. I'm telling you, these two great teams, they have a collision course. Unless somebody's upset, and I don't see that happening. I know that the Dodgers and the Braves, they had a nice home-and-home series, and I think Acuna got married out here on the West Coast. And they had a great series against the LA Dodgers. But there's something about those two teams, in my opinion, and I think these two teams, no matter what happens in the American League, I like Houston. I like Houston in the American League, and who else can come out of there would be maybe an upset. But I like Houston again because Dusty Baker, and I can't put it past Texas, but Houston, with Dusty's ability to manage and pull the right punches in their pitching staff, I'm seeing Houston getting back to the World Series. That's just my early prediction, but I got to see what happens with who stays healthy in the pitching. But I got to make the Atlanta Braves #1 in Big C's baseball power rankings. Give that some praise. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. You don't have to like it, but that's just the way the ball bounces, and I love seeing the way the ball bounces. Again, everybody has their own thoughts. I love so much about what's going on in the world of sports. I really do appreciate the way it's all come together. So many people are having their thoughts about what's going to happen in the world of Major League Baseball. But it does take a backseat to football. It just does. But that's my opinion, and everybody has their own opinion. I want to touch on a little bit of NBA basketball. I know we haven't even had the tip-off yet, but the 2023-24 NBA preseason, the power rankings. What in the world is Jimmy Buckets doing? It's just my opinion, and I'll leave that as it is. What in the world is Jimmy Buckets doing? That's my opinion. But the preseason NBA power rankings, the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics, they look different. The Denver Nuggets, they look the same. And who knows what to expect from the Philadelphia 76ers. I got a feeling that out west, the NBA Sacramento Kings, I have this team in the NBA in Big C's. I got to put the Sacramento Kings in Big C's NBA power rankings. I got some more study to do about them, but I'd be so surprised if this team does not improve on what they did last year. Last year, Big C Sports was the only sports podcaster in the universe that said the Kings would win 50 games in the regular season. And they were on pace to do that. They won 48. Well, that's not 50, Big C. They won 48, and they finished with a lot better record than many people thought. A lot of people had them winning 40 games. I picked them at winning 50 games. Well, this year, they've added some meat to that lineup. I got the Sacramento Kings winning 55 to 60 games. What? 55 to 60? This team can shoot the lights out. If they can play better defense, they can light the beam. Light the beam. We got the Sacramento Kings winning at least 55 games this year. 55? Yes, played 55 games this year. The NBA championship last year, it felt a jolt last week with 2 blockbuster trades. One of the biggest trades in the history of the NBA basketball universe. Now a name. He grew up in Oakland. And then he ended up with the Portland Trail Blazers. And now he's in Milwaukee. I thought he would have looked good in an LA Laker or Golden State Warriors uniform. Just my opinion. But Damian Lillard to Milwaukee, and then the shipping of Drew Holiday to Boston, just 3 weeks until the opening night. There's a lot of ripple effects. Everybody has their own opinion about who's going to do what in NBA basketball. But I'm telling you, as my thoughts, I want the NBA to do what what the NFL is doing. And what I want them to do is work with our congressmen and our senators and the reparations task force all over the country, like the one at Georgetown that already pledged over $1 billion in reparations. Give that some praise. I want them to join with the United Nations that says that reparations are due for descendants of child slavery. Give that some praise. I want them to also get in line. You got to get in line with it, because California is about to pass reparations for descendants of child slavery. You heard it first on Big C Sports, and you can give that some praise. I know Georgetown beat it to the punch. President Biden signed Executive Order 13985. That was sent to me by Double O, national correspondent for the National Black Wall Street Project. It's in writing. And I think the NBA is about 80% African American players. If you don't stand up behind reparations now and reparations forever, doesn't make any sense. The NFL put in racism on the back of their end zones. The NBA needs to put reparations on the back of the basket. Reparations now, reparations forever. If you can't champion for your own cause, and you want to shut up and dribble like some lady from Fox Sports or Fox News told you, she said, shut up! I don't want guys to shut up. Just stand behind the United Nations. They're asking for reparations for descendants of child slavery. Georgetown pledged $1 billion to just 272 descendants of slavery that helped build Georgetown. The Jesuits behind it. The Catholic Church is behind it. You got to see that. Senator Marco Rubio is making sure that Holocaust heirs get paid as we are breathing. If we as black men, don't let me out there on my island by myself. If you love me, feed my sheep. That's what Jesus said. If you love ending racism, do what President Abraham Lincoln did. He said, reparations now, reparations forever. We're shucking and jiving. 3 branches of law: legislative, executive, judicial. I would like to see the next president of the United States will be the one that passes reparations. You want to win the vote of the black vote? You better pass reparations now and do what President Abraham Lincoln said. We're shucking and jiving. That's my opinion. Washington Wizards might come up the abyss for NBA basketball. Charlotte Hornets got them at 29 on Big C's power rankings. It's just early. Just going to get some thoughts on it. The Detroit Pistons and Detroit, the bad boys are long ago in a galaxy far, far away, and they're still trying to rebuild that team. That's my story. I'm taking with it. I got the Portland Trail Blazers. Dollar Dame finally, he smelled the coffee and he left, because I said he should have left a long time ago. That's my story. He's too good to not be on a championship contender. Now he's on a championship contender. That's what they play on the Riverwalk down in San Antonio, Texas. The Spurs, that's the number 26 in Big C's NBA power rankings. Houston, we have liftoff. But maybe next year. Houston Rockets at number 25 in Big C's NBA power rankings. I got the good old boys from Chicago, the Chicago Bulls. No, this is not Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls team, but they are trying to rebuild up in the Windy City. The Toronto Raptors up in Canada got them number 23 in Big C's Major League or NBA basketball power rankings. The Orlando Magic coming in at number 22 in Big C's NBA power rankings. I'll get more in depth as we get into the season. Number 21, the Indiana Pacers on the screen for Big C's NBA power rankings. Number 20, the Utah Jazz. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Number 9, Brooklyn in the house. The Brooklyn Nets. Number 19 in Big C's NBA power rankings at the Barclays Center. Number 18 up in the Great Lakes, the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's my story with the big cat. Number 17, the stars are bright, deep in the night, deep in the heart of Texas. Got the Dallas Mavericks, number 17 in Big C's NBA Power Rankings. I love down south where they say the peaches are sweeter. The Atlanta Hawks, number 16 in Big C's NBA Basketball Power Rankings. Number 15, Oklahoma Thunder. The Thunder, I got the number 15 in Big C's NBA Basketball Power Rankings. Oklahoma, I just want to say just a quick caveat for the good old boys of Oklahoma City. The Seattle Supersonics, they really lost out because they did not build an arena. Had they built an arena, they would have still had them. But they did not, and now they're the OKC Thunder. Give the Thunder some praise. All's fair in love and war. Number 14 in Big C's NBA Basketball Power Rankings. Cleveland, this is for you. I got the Cleveland Cavaliers. I got Donovan Mitchell doing his thing this year. I got number 13 in Big C's NBA Basketball Power Rankings. I got the New Orleans Pelicans. Hopefully they'll keep the salt water out of the drinking water, and the great Zion Williamson will stay healthy this year for the great Nolans. Is it New Orleans or Nolans? I call it Nolans. They call it New Orleans. Remember, I got, what do I got? Jam. Jam. I'm going to put the New York Knicks. New York City, I got them right there tied with Nolans for the Big C's NBA Basketball Power Rankings. I'm going to put them 11 and 12. I'm going to tie them with Nolans, if that makes sense to you. Who has better food, New York City or Nolans? I would say Nolans has better food than New York City. I got number 10 in Big C's NBA Basketball Power Rankings. The Philadelphia 76ers, the great Joel Embiid. What's he going to do? James Harden, can you even count on James Harden? When he's ready to play, you can. Number 9 in Big C's NBA Basketball Power Rankings. I got the Miami Heat. What in the world's gone on with Jimmy Buckets? All's fair and love and war. People do what they want to do. I got number 8 in Big C's NBA Basketball Power Rankings. I got the Los Angeles Clippers. That's my story. If they can just stay healthy, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, they're talented, but can they stay healthy? I got number 7 in Big C's NBA Basketball Power Rankings. The Sacramento Kings. Light the beam. Light the beam. Light the beam. All's fair and love and war. But I got them tied with the Memphis Grizzlies. Ja Morant going to be suspended for the first 25 games. Hopefully he'll grow up. $200 million in NBA basketball is a lot better than being, if you know what I mean. I'll leave that as a may. I got number 6 in Big C's NBA Basketball Power Rankings. The Golden State Warriors. Warriors, come out and play. I might sound like a fool when I say this. I don't think Chris Paul helps Golden State. What are you talking about, Curry? You must be out of your mind. I don't see how Chris Paul's going to help Golden State. They're a fast team. They're an up and down the court team. Chris Paul, he's a walk-up guard. Steph Curry runs, he never stops running. He never stops moving. I don't see Chris Paul having a three-point shot. They're going to slow it down with Chris Paul on the court. But maybe I'm wrong. But that's my story. I'm sticking with it. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. I got number 5 in Big C's NBA Basketball Power Rankings. The LA Lakers. Oh, come on, Big C. You're just a West Coast fan. No, I'm telling you, the Lakers are a good team. They have LeBron James. They have Anthony Davis when he stays healthy. And this team will get the benefit of the NBA when it comes to fouls. They shot 80 more free throws than Golden State last year in the playoffs. And I'm just keeping it real. Got number 4 in Big C's NBA Basketball Power Rankings. I got the Phoenix Suns down in the Valley of the Desert. Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, say no more. Durant's going to have a great season this year. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I got number 3 in Big C's NBA Basketball Power Rankings. I got the Boston Celtics. Boston Celtics. The Celtics pulled off a seismic shift this offseason by swapping Marcus Smart for Drew Holiday. I think that's going to be huge for those good boys. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I got number 2 in Big C's NBA basketball power rankings, I gotta say, there's gold in their hills. The defending NBA champion, I got the Denver Nuggets. You gotta give them some praise. They won a championship, their first one last year. Can you believe this team? You couldn't even see them on television in Denver 2 years ago. They had to work something out with the cable rights. The Denver Nuggets, I'm telling you, they got a good old boy by the Joker. They had a great season last year, Nikola Jokic. Aaron Gordon is going to be a better player this year than he was last year. But they're not going to repeat as NBA champion. I just don't think they're going to repeat as NBA champion. Too much turbulence coming out of Denver's airport, if that makes sense to you. Now, who do I have? And this is just preseason, so I may be wrong. But I'm the only one, the only sports podcaster or broadcaster in the universe. A couple of years ago, I picked Golden State to beat Boston in 6 games. And the last 3 games, I said Golden State would win by double digits. And the point spread was like a 3 or 4 point difference in each game. How was Big C right? Golden State won the last 3 games versus Boston by double digits. They were all double digits. The only sports podcaster and broadcaster in the universe is Big C Sports. So I'm pretty accurate when it comes to charting games. So I got number 1 in Big C's 2023 NBA basketball power rankings. Number 1, the Milwaukee Bucks. Because Dollar Dame and Giannis Antetokounmpo, they're the real deal. When you put Giannis, I call him King Giannis Antetokounmpo, and they're going to start putting on the back of the NBA basketball scoreboard, instead of calling him a freak, they're going to start saying reparations now, reparations forever. If you can call a black man a freak, that's a compliment. Go home and call your wife a freak and see how she reports to you. Or maybe she won't report after all that bad if that makes sense to you. But for the most part, you call somebody a freak, you're not going to get the best treatment unless that's how she gets down. But I want to see black men called kings and queens. If you don't call me a king, you got to pay reparations anyway. If it's so easy to call black men freaks and monsters, why can't we say reparations now? Reparations forever. I want to see that on the NBA basketball. And how does Dollar Dame help Giannis? Because he's an offensive shooter. They're going to be unparalleled in the Eastern Conference. They've never played with someone as great as each other. Not since LaMarcus Aldridge and Dollar Dame played with anyone as good as Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez. I think bigger than Dollar Dame is a three-point shooter specialist, but he also gets up and down the court. He's not a walk-your-ball-up slow kind of player. He can get up and down the court with Giannis. I think they're going to set the East Coast on fire, and they're going to be hard to beat in the NBA this year. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. You can leave, follow, or get out of the way. I want everyone in the NBA do what the NFL, what do they say? They say end racism. You know how you end racism? You honor President Abraham Lincoln when he said reparations now, reparations forever. We got to do that. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. I want to always honor my family legacy. That's how I got started with Big C Sports Podcast. On my beautiful mother's side, my beautiful mother, my grandmother called her Mamo, beautiful, loving, kind woman. Always making sure lots of love in the family, lots of food in the belly. My great-granddaddy called him Pop, from a military man. A Negro League baseball player, could fix anything with his hands, planes, trains, automobiles, and washing machines. I also want to say my beautiful grandmother, my dear, beautiful, loving, kind woman. She was a seer. She could oftentimes look at a person and tell you a lot about their past, their present, and their future. And then my beautiful grandfather, Hezekiah, another wonderful person, a seer, could look at a person and tell you a lot about their past, present, and future. Then I can always depend on my mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. Started a Head Start program, a food program, and then coached an all-boys baseball team to the championship of the universe. I want to give mama some praise. Come on, started a Head Start program, a food program, and then also coached an all-boys Little League baseball team to a championship. I love giving my mama praise, always saying rise and shine. Love my mama with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. On my father's side, my granddaddy called him Albert Curry. He was a pastor, had 2 churches in Oakland, built the 3rd one in Central California, but he also owned 40 acres of land, like the Emancipation Proclamation promised descendants of chattel slavery. And my beautiful grandmother, working side by side with my granddaddy, She said to me, there's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak, and now I'm on 29 podcast platforms and streaming on 4 TV platforms. My beautiful father, former United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, always making sure that airplanes can fly high so we can all stay safe at night. Love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Always saying, develop your mind to its highest extent. My beautiful brother Todd with that bombastic voice, sound like thunder and lightning when Todd would speak. Always saying, go forward. A voracious leader. Love talking about sports and politics. My beautiful daughter Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees with honors in 3.5 years. She set up the very first interview for Big C Sports back at Salem Media. From there, it went on to become the first time in the history of the United States that NFL Monday Night Football started broadcasting live on the Wall Street Business Network. You can be anything you want to be. Always trust God, Isaiah 54:17. And then my beautiful handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. Easy, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Malcolm, college senior, very smart, erudite. He helped me save trees. I used to always look at newspapers to get stats for the Big C Sports podcast. One day, Malcolm said, Dad, why don't you just Google it? And a light bulb went off. I've been Googling ever since. One day, Malcolm said, Dad, do you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, sure. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV, and say, play Big C Sports. You'll see your show come up. That's before it was even on the air. About a month later, you can find us on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. He's spoken into existence. You can be anything you want to be. Always trust God. Isaiah 54:17. That no weapon formed against you will prosper. And then Big C with all that wealth of knowledge over the years. Malcolm, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Always saying you gotta believe, you gotta believe, you gotta believe. Saying let's get ready to rumble. I love saying that. I love the show. I love reparations. I love reparations now. I love reparations forever. I love doing Big C Sports Podcast. I'm so grateful. As I always tell you, if you're gonna drink, don't drive. If you're gonna drive, don't drink. Because mothers against drunk drivers are mad, and fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can call Uber. You can call Lyft. You can walk it off. You can sleep it off. But don't drink and drive. The life you save may be your own or someone you love. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, now you know what time it is. Back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat, because listening to Big C Sports makes me want reparations now, reparations forever. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. My beautiful mother always says, there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. If you know anybody going through it, pick up the phone and call 911 because things change when the police show up. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, as I always tell you, on every Big C Sports show, I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day. I'm the only sports show in the United States of America that will always honor America's 16th president, President Abraham Lincoln. As we choose to pass reparations, what did he say? He said reparations now, reparations forever. Let's honor President Abraham Lincoln the second time. What did he say, people? He said reparations now, reparations forever. Let's honor him one more time as if your team just won the game. He said reparations now, reparations forever. I thank you. I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day.